All right, for this question, what we're going to need to do is kind of think big picture. Maybe we call that a dumb summary. We don't want to get too bogged down in details if we can avoid it. So we're being asked if this piece here should go or stay. If we kind of skip ahead a little bit to the choices, we can tell we're being asked about the paragraph, the passage, right? So normally I say, whenever we have these ideas questions, we have instructions of something to read, we need to follow those instructions. So we're definitely reading this paragraph, but do we really need to go back and reread all the passage? Probably not. We're kind of already deep in it. This is the last question in this paragraph, right? Or in this passage. So we should know what it's about. We'll see why when we get to the choices, but let's at least read the paragraph. Filtering is essential to search engines because the sheer volume of information on the internet makes it impossible to display more than a small portion of all relevant results. But in the case of political information, it is important for users to be aware of the existence of filters and of the factors that might bias results. If search engines publish this information by displaying a warning that results are selected based on user preference, for example, users would be better able to read political coverage online with an appropriately critical eye and thus base their political beliefs on a fuller range of information. So look, they're talking about publishing it, they're giving you a means of doing that, and they're saying why that's good. So this piece that we're adding or deleting is definitely related. It's talking about a way that this publishing would occur, how that would happen. So that kind of matches with choice B, because it supports the passage's argument about search engines by offering a potential solution. So by now we've read that there's lots of problems with search engines and with filtering, right? So they're saying it's good, or it's necessary, but that it has some kind of drawbacks here, right? There's bias. So they're talking about a solution, a way to deal with that. It's a very specific solution. But let's look maybe at choice A. It introduces an additional point about filter bubbles that is developed in the paragraph. Well, where else is it developed in the paragraph? I mean, it's not introducing a point about filter bubbles. It's an example of what we can do to solve the problem. So the point is already introduced in the non-underlined portions, that they exist and we should inform people about them. So it's not introducing a point, it's kind of following up on a point that's already been introduced. So that kind of language matters. I mean, and it goes to show, why we need to kind of think dumb about things sometimes is we really think okay, well, if it's introducing a point, what's the point? Turn it into a question like that we do in the reading section. As far as C and D go, deleted because it blurs the focus of the passage by introducing information unrelated to politics. Well, it's not unrelated. It's saying that this is what we're going to do for political things to show people that their results are being biased and filtered. But more important, the point of the passage is not politics. The point of the passage is the filters. So this choice is just not even accurate. And that's why I don't need to go back and reread the passage. Hopefully by now, I would know that the passage is about filters, and I would just know that that's not an accurate, dumb summary of what's going on to say it's about politics. So that's the kind of understanding of the passage we need for these. Let's look at D. Deleted because it repeats information about search engine filters that appears earlier in the passage. Well, you might feel uneasy about that, but this is a very specific point. Hopefully you would have remembered reading this, but it's not introducing it. It's introducing a new solution. We haven't come across solutions yet. So this is just not even true. And I think that ultimately this is why, when we have these questions that are add or delete, very rarely do we need to read the entire passage again, because more often the right answer is much more obviously right. So it's not so much that we're eliminating C and D even. It's more that just B is just true. Yeah, it supports the passage's argument about search engines by offering a potential solution. Is it offering a solution? Yeah, put the bar with a warning sign, right? And is the passage saying that we need to do this? Yeah, it literally says it in the sentence before. If they publish the information about the bias, right? It's right there. So trust that. Trust that that's going to be the thing. Is we do need to read a little extra besides just the underlined portion, but we know enough about these passages to know what's good and what's bad. So you usually can kind of trust those instincts. They're usually right. We might be able to get to A and B because of that. And then we can do the more like smarter summaries, the ways that we kind of analyze things a little bit more detailed. But to start off, you should be able to kind of weed out some answers just by your gut.